30 minutes past the hour 6. You're live here on GHOne TV. This is News Tonight with me, Natalie. For a look at our top stories this evening. Coming up tonight, healthcare under fire as minority in parliament targets Kolebu Ridge and Police Hospital after fatal neglect claims demands leadership of the Kolebu Ridge and the police hospitals be summoned over the death of 29-year-old engineer Charles Amisa.
He perished. He died in the back of an ambulance, virtually on the streets of our capital city, because the institutions mandated to protect life turned.
Emotions went high after Accra High Court hands Richard Appiah a life sentence for the murder of 12-year-old Louise Ajmine and 15-year-old Stephen Sarpong at Abesim.
We are still not happy with the outcome because nothing can bring my son back. We know there are others who participated in these criminal activities. The law will catch up and bite them.
Also in the bulletin this evening, Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, launches pilot science-based cleanup of Birim River as a model for restoring other contaminated water bodies caused by years of illegal mining activities. Tonight, we'll engage stakeholders on the latest development. In business, Stanbic Bank Ghana flags $15 million GPRTU loan default for the acquisition of commercial buses, raising concerns over transport sector financing and sustainability of union-backed vehicle schemes.
2010, 2011, the scheme literally had collapsed and come to a halt. Why? Because there was huge defaults. Many people who took the buses did things that were not right.
On the foreign front, senior M23 rebel commander killed in DR Congo drone strike amid escalating clashes in the conflict-hit region. The details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight. Do stay. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV, streaming live all across the world on Facebook and on X at GHOne TV. Here's where we get started tonight. A court in Virginia has denied bail to embattled former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta pending further proceedings in an immigration case against him. This decision means Ofori-Atta will likely remain in custody as investigations and legal processes continue. The prosecution argued against bail, citing grounds presented to the court, while the defense pushed for his release on medical terms, which the court ultimately rejected. The defense appealed for bail on the grounds that their client needs to seek proper medical attention. However, the prosecution argued that there is adequate access to medical care at the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's detention facility, where Ofori-Atta is currently being detained. The matter was adjourned to a later date for further hearing, meaning Ken Ofori-Atta will remain in custody until April 27, 2026, when the court will continue his deportation hearing. In other top stories, the High Court of Justice, Ghana in Accra, has sentenced Richard Appiah to life imprisonment for the 2021 murder of two minors, 12-year-old Louise Ajmine and 15-year-old Stephen Sarpong at Abesim. A 7-member jury unanimously found him guilty on 2 counts of murder, rejecting his insanity plea. Emotions ran high in the courtroom as the verdict was delivered, with the victims' parents breaking down in tears as they relived their loss. The prosecution, led by Senior State Attorney Nanama Adinkra, presented what it described as compelling evidence to secure the conviction. Murtala Inusa reports for EIB Network.
It was an emotional turn of events at the Law Court Complex here in Accra moments after the High Court has handed down a life sentence to Richard Appiah, who has been accused of killing 2 teenagers at Abisim sometime in 2021. The 7-member jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict against him for 2 counts of murder. Consequently, per the law, Justice Ruby Aite sentenced him to life imprisonment. The parties in the matter, first of all, defense lawyers mounted a spirited defense by arguing that their client is guilty but insane and want the jury to consider same and return that particular special verdict. But the prosecution, led by Nana Ama-Edinkra, senior state attorney, opposed to that and said at the time that the convict committed the offense, he knew exactly what he was up to, and there was no issue of insanity for which he should be pleading guilty but insane. The jury should not return that special verdict for him. A moment after considering the submissions made by the defense lawyers and that of the prosecution and the summary of the judge, the jury handed down their verdict, and it was unanimous. The father of Stephen Sapon, one of the victims, a 15-year-old whose body part was dismembered, broke down in tears together with the wife when they were addressing the media moments after the decision.
Now the law of the land has spoken and justice has been done to my son Sapon Stephen. We are still not happy with the outcome because nothing can bring my son back. We know there are others who participated in these criminal activities. The law will catch up and bite them when their time is due.
Lead counsel for the accused person, Theophilus Jemega, indicated clearly that they welcome the decision of the jury, but they intend to challenge that at the Court of Appeal.
Typically, we accept the verdict of the jury, but as I indicated to you, we have considered our options already, and we will definitely appeal the decision. There are a lot of things that went in that we felt that was not properly considered. Our client didn't deny the act happened. He said the act happened by virtue of insanity. So he was not in charge of his mind or control of his mind when the thing happened. And all the cases that we cited and all the arguments, the advocacy we made showed clearly, and all the specialists who testified showed clearly that the guy had a problem, had a mental problem prior to. So we were only asking for guilty by insanity. And as you know, guilty with insanity means that he'll be detained at the pleasure of the president. That is what we are asking for.
From the law court complex here in Accra, Mutala Inusa, GHOne.
You're watching News Tonight. Let's turn to some other stories this evening. The Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, has begun a pilot cleanup of the Birim River at GHOne in the Isiakwa area as part of efforts to curb pollution from illegal mining activities. The authority says the exercise involves science-based methods to clean polluted water bodies and strengthen sustainable water management. Other key institutions involved in the exercise include Ghana Water Company Limited, the Water Resources Commission, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research through its Water Research Institute, the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission and the Ghana Standards Authority. The Birim River has suffered severe pollution in recent years, impacting water quality and livelihoods. The EPA says the pilot will serve as a model for restoring other polluted rivers nationwide. Let's stay on this a while longer. Joining via phone is the Public Relations Officer of the EPA, Richard Sapon. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining here on News Tonight this evening. Well, first of all, could you provide some further perspective and clarity as per how this is going to be conducted, this science-based approach to cleaning the water bodies? Explain how it's carried out.
Thank you for the opportunity. And let me put on record, I'm the national PRO of the Garant cadres of the NDC. So I don't know if I can go ahead to speak. Not the PRO of the EPA, but rather the pressure group Garant cadres of the NDC.
Right. Can you kindly mention your designation again?
I'm the Richard Sapon, the National PRO of the Garant cadres of the NDC. I think we just came out with a press release with regard to the de-chemicalization of the polluted water bodies in Ghana. We think it's a good cause. Ghana is endowed with several water bodies and water resources. But you would agree with me that the free-for-all illegal mining had negative consequences and health impact on our water bodies, aquatic life, and you can see that about the mining activities in this country, about size of Accra, the forest belts or resource of Ghana have been destroyed. We can see that almost all the water bodies in Ghana are dead, have become unwholesome for consumption. With its related health risk, we have deformed babies, people suffering with kidney diseases, all because of illegal mining activities. And aside that, you can also see the operational cost of the Ghana Water Company in terms of treating water and supplying water to the public has gone very high. Machines do break down. They need to even import some of these machines into this country. And so the decision by the EPA was to treat the water bodies in this country. We believe that it's in the right direction and need to be applauded. And every support that the authority needs in terms of funds and resources, we want to call on the government of Ghana and other corporate bodies, international bodies like the IMF and the World Bank to come to the aid of the EPA, because water is life. Water is life. We use water for domestic and commercial purposes. And so if you're having water ration in this country, imminent water shortage in this country, is it that nature has not endowed us with water resources or water? But we do have the water resources, but because of the free-for-all illegal mining, that has impacted negatively on our water bodies. So if today there's an attempt to treat the water bodies in this country for both domestic consumption and commercial, I think it's in the right direction. And I think the woman has the technical know-how to protect the Ghanaian environment. She's performing very well in trying to save Ghana from imminent water shortage and the environmental threat. And so kudos to Professor Nanama Kuche for all that she's doing to protect the environment, for that matter, the water resources of this country.
Very well. Would like to thank you for your time this evening. Richard Sapong joining us there. Well, let's stay on this issue. Get onto the phone lines and speak with coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens, Awula Sewa, for her reaction to this development. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, you just heard my brief engagement with Richard Sapong, and generally, from where you sit, what's your assessment of it? We've got the CEO of the Environmental Protection Agency, Nanama Kluche, expressing the fact that this entire initiative is going to take an estimated figure of $35 million to carry it out. Many do feel it's a step in the right direction. Is that what you think as well? I would have said, well, I hope you're hearing me now.
Hello, good evening. I think the question didn't come through. Could you repeat it, please?
No problem. So I was asking what you make of this. I mean, you serve as the coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. You've been vocal about this for quite some time now. And the CEO of the EPA, that's Nanama Kluche, has expressed that this is going to take an estimated figure of about $35 million for this cleanup exercise. What's your take on it, and how sustainable do you think it is?
First of all, good evening. Thank you for having me. I think that our focus should be ending irresponsible mining. So long as our waters are being polluted, with all the goodwill in the world, I think that cleaning the water would have limited success. We thank the EPA chair for being concerned enough to do something about it. But the truth of the matter is that we can stop irresponsible mining. We can declare a targeted state of emergency, get our Navy involved to be patrolling our water bodies so that we can remove the chanfans, remove the irresponsible miners who are polluting our water bodies, diverting our water bodies. You see, if we don't do this and we're cleaning the water, it will be limited. If they're going to fetch water with a basket, as others have put it. So our focus should be ending irresponsible mining. And then you ask about sustainability.
Right.
The costs involved, they are astronomical. And we don't know what the after effects will be. So we thank her for her desire to end the pollution of our water bodies. But we think that the focus should be to stop the pollution, and then we can go to the cleanup.
Right. So I will.
And then we should also use the polluter pays principle.
Yes.
So the cost should be borne by those who have destroyed our water bodies.
So in that case, I mean, you say that it is a laudable initiative, but it's not the priority now, I believe is what you're saying in essence.
Well,
is that to say that it shouldn't be carried out at all?
You see, I'm not quite sure. I'm not a scientist. I'm not quite sure that this is the... I mean, the scientists will be the best people to advise on the way to clean our water bodies. I've heard and again. But I would say that we need to really look at the focus. There's cause and effect. Our waters are being polluted by irresponsible mining. If we don't stop the irresponsible mining, what we are doing will be futile. Now, even if we stop the irresponsible mining, I am not a scientist, and I'm not sure that this is the only way forward. I've heard others express their opinions, but I think that what we should all be focused on right now is on removing the chanfans from our water bodies, on stopping the pollution, and then ensuring that, for example, after the Joy expose, the DCE, whose administration was given permits or some called protection to have chanfans on the water bodies, should at least be removed. And then we'll see that there's some seriousness in tackling the ecocide, the poison of the names. But I don't think that this exercise is sustainable. No, I don't think so. And it's extremely expensive.
Very well. I would like to thank you for your time and insight and reaction to this evening. Awula Sewa joining us there, coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. Certainly more on that development subsequently. The Forestry Commission says its long-standing inability to effectively protect forest reserves and other protected lands is largely due to a lack of political will, which weakened enforcement and enabled illegal activities to thrive. Responding to questions during a media interaction in Accra, the Commission's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Hugh Brown, lamented that until 2025, securing military support to protect forest reserves from armed illegal miners was virtually impossible, leaving frontline officers exposed and enforcement efforts severely constrained.
The Commission was either handicapped or disabled from doing what it was supposed to do. Don't forget that until last year, it was next to impossible to get access to the military to fight illegal mining in this country. We're all here. The military were withdrawn on the 1st of November, and we were left to our fate. We had to quickly strengthen our rapid response teams and sometimes put them in situations where they were not well equipped to. And we can't continue doing protection like we used to do in the 1920s and the 1930s, where forest guards were holding cutlasses and patrolling forest reserve boundary to detect offences. We have not invested in that part of our job. You have forest districts where officers like forest guards, all they are given is bicycles. They don't even have motorbikes. We have districts that do not even have patrol vehicles. So the issues are numerous. But we believe that last year we made some definitive steps forward. And we have put forward some proposals. And we believe if we get the necessary support, we should be able to bring this issue under control.
You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV with me, Natalie. We bring you insights next. On Insights this evening, management of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital are engaged in a crucial meeting after interdicting 4 health professionals, 2 doctors and 2 nurses over their alleged involvement in the refusal of emergency care to a road accident victim who later died. The decision follows public outrage over reports that 29-year-old Charles Amisa was turned away from multiple health facilities despite being in critical condition. The hospital says the staff have been temporarily relieved of duty pending investigations. A committee has also been constituted to conduct a full-scale inquiry into the incident and determine whether emergency care protocols were breached. In a statement issued Monday, February 23, 2026, management directed all personnel connected to the case to cooperate fully with investigators to ensure transparency and fairness. Amisa, an engineer with Promasidor Ghana Limited, sustained severe shoulder injuries in a hit-and-run accident at the Circle Overpass in Accra on February 6. He was stabilized by emergency medical services and transported for further treatment. However, reports indicate he was unable to secure admission at the police hospital, Ridge Hospital and Korle Bu Teaching Hospital due to unavailability of beds. While at Korle Bu, he reportedly went into cardiac arrest. Though CPR was administered, he was pronounced dead shortly after. The hospital has pledged accountability and says the public will be updated once investigations are complete. Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament is demanding that the head of Korle Bu, Ridge Hospital and Police Hospital be summoned over the death of hit-and-run victim Charles Amisa. The tragic death of 29-year-old engineer Charles Amisa, who died after being turned away from multiple hospitals due to a lack of beds, has sparked deep reflection on Ghana's healthcare system. Management of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital has so far interdicted 2 medical doctors, 2 nurses as well over the alleged medical negligence. But in a statement on the floor of Parliament, Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin called on the Ghana Police Service to deploy available resources to ensure that the suspect is apprehended.
We must today confront a truth as painful as it is undeniable. Our healthcare system, the sanctuary to which citizens flee in their most fragile hour, failed. It failed catastrophically, and it failed fatally. Let me be emphatic. This is not a partisan matter. Therefore, this chamber must not descend into the usual theater of political point scoring. It is not about the NDC nor the MPP. This transcends political advantage. Mr. Speaker, this is about a human being, a young Ghanaian citizen. His name was Charles Amisa, a 29-year-old man in the prime of his life, reportedly employed by Promasidor Ghana Limited, who should, by every moral and legal right, be alive today. Instead, he perished. He died in the back of an ambulance, virtually on the streets of our capital city, because the institutions mandated to protect life turned him away.
But in a sharp rebuttal, Deputy Health Minister Dr. Grace Ayensu-Dankwa took a swipe at the Akufo-Addo-led administration, accusing the previous administration of the failure to operationalize some Agenda 111 hospitals. According to her, the current administration inherited a dire health system.
We have constituted a committee that is looking into it. We are collecting data as to what is actually happening in our emergency rooms. Mr. Speaker, the issue is multifaceted. Is it the pre-hospital, the ambulance, the pre-hospital care, or is it indeed what is happening in our emergency rooms? The ambulance service, Mr. Speaker, we had 30 ambulances that are currently parked. Condolences to the family, and I would also like to express my condolences to the rest of the country. Mr. Speaker, under our government, such incidences would not happen.
Former Works and Housing Minister and MP for Ofuase Ayiribi Kojo Opong Nkrumah cautioned the majority caucus to avoid politicizing the tragedy.
The emergency health processes that should take place in our health facilities across the country are very strongly observed. But, Mr. Speaker, this happened in a very urban area where medical facilities are available, where medical personnel are unavailable. Can we imagine what is happening in many of the rural communities where facilities and personnel are in short supply? And so, across the aisle, we have to commit ourselves to ensure that no cedi should be spared in ensuring that facilities and personnel are made available across the country to be able to attend to the health needs of our people. And Speaker, once again, we would extend our commiserations to the family of Mr. Charles Emisa. But this should not be a matter that is politicized in any way whatsoever.
However, MP for Afajato South, Frank Afriye, says past and current administrations have overly invested resources in Accra, leaving health infrastructure in other regions.
We have overly concentrated our health facilities in Accra. And so, be it professionals, be it equipment, be it tools, most of them are here. So everything that happens in the 15 other regions must come to Kolebu, must go to UGMC, and so it makes these professionals also overstretched. And so governments must relentlessly look at that angle. I am happy and delighted to know that at least under the administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, his first tenure, he has demonstrated unyielding commitment to expanding some of this infrastructure. It's not enough. We must admit that we need to do more. And we must encourage the public along that we are not the kind of ruling class that always takes interest in going to London, Germany, America, and all other places to seek treatment. But then we are doing our bit, and we must win their confidence. This issue must not be left to go unchecked. I thank the ministry, I thank the government for instituting swiftly an investigation.
Deputy Minority Chief Habib Idrisu backed calls for the heads of the 3 health institutions to be summoned.
I want to call on the Deputy Health Minister and the Minister that when statement of this nature is made on the floor, we should not always be happy or be in a hurry to politicize the whole issue. It is very sad that if you go into an emergency ward, you will be told that there is no bed, and for that matter, you will lose your life. This is not the Ghana we are all yielding to build. This is not the health infrastructure or the health priorities we want to do. Because, Mr. Speaker, health...
Meanwhile, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga says people should be held accountable for negligence.
Who is responsible for the conduct of the health personnel? We, the politicians. Who is responsible for making sure that they work under environments where, when there's an emergency, they will respond to it? We, the politicians. Who is responsible for making sure that there are enough beds in the hospitals? We, the politicians. So when we say we shouldn't politicize things, I agree that we shouldn't be partisan about it. But the root cause is always political. I believe that we must get to the bottom of matters like this. And I thank my colleague for bringing the matter up. And I think that at all times, this parliament must hold those responsible for such conduct, to account. See, we talk about it and then we leave it there. It happened in 2018. What happened? What did we do? How did those accountable fare at that time? This is what those who have done it today will be inspired by. They will talk, they will do nothing. We want to see action this time. We want to see people held accountable so that the rest of the health personnel across the country will know that this parliament will not sit idly by whilst people negligently lead to the loss of life.
We stay on this issue a while longer, joined via Zoom by Board Chairman for Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Titus Bayo, joins us now for more on this. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, this clearly is a troubling development. Many are impassioned about this having been allowed to take place. Emergency care, as you know, is illegal and it's an ethical obligation. At what point would you say that these major health facilities broke protocol in this case as it pertains to this?
Good evening. Good evening to your viewers, and let me also express my deepest condolences to the bereaved family and to the entire nation. I think our conscience is once again stirred by this very, very unfortunate development. It was a 70-year-old in 2018, and now it's a 29-year-old in the prime of life. No one knows who is next until we fix it. It's very, very, very unfortunate, and we do hope that things like this never happen. But it suffices to say, I made a statement, I contributed to this statement on the floor, and I did espouse some of the reasoning and try to inform my colleagues what the no bed actually mean to the health workers and to everybody else, because people actually think it only means that there is no physical bed. If not, then people could just bring a bed from home. But no, it means far more than that. So it's a systemic problem, it's a structural problem, and it's also as much an attitudinal problem. And we need to confront it on all levels.
Run us through the details of what the no bed means, because as you put it, many take it to mean that there's no bed present, physical, literal bed. And if there isn't, one would ask what the contingency measures are in place at these health facilities, because between a bed and one's life, we'll certainly pick the latter. So what exactly does it mean, and why is it so difficult for there to be such contingency measures put in place?
All right. So when you get a response that there is no bed, this response could be going to a patient who is arriving in an emergency unit from home or being brought by the ambulance from a non-health facility. Then you can have a situation where the person is in another facility and trying to move to a bigger health facility because the former facility cannot take care of his condition at that time. When you get the response of no bed, it could be that the physical bed space is exhausted. And when we talk about that instance, it could be that the specialized bed that person needs, for instance, the person needs a stroke bed, or the person needs an ICU bed, or the person needs a bed in the emergency for observation or for some management. That bed space may be exhausted. It could also mean that the hospital doesn't have what it takes to take care of you. So maybe you need blood, you are bleeding, and they feel that you need to be transfused. They don't have blood. Then rather than just take you and you come and die in their hands, they'll tell you there's no bed because they cannot provide for you. It could mean that they are lacking a particular skill. Maybe there's a particular doctor who needs to do a procedure for you. A person there's none in that hospital, so they will tell you they cannot take you. It could mean that there is no theater space. Maybe your condition requires that immediately after taking you, they take you to theater to operate you. They will tell you there is no bed because they don't have theater space. It could mean someone needing oxygen, and the hospital doesn't have oxygen at that moment. Rather than take you in and cannot provide that oxygen and you die, they will tell you there is no bed. And last but not least, it could actually mean attitude, poor attitude, that people are simply just not willing to work. And so someone feels my shift is almost over. Instead of admitting a patient and doing all the documentations, they will say no bed. Somebody is just not willing to work. All this to be an explanation why someone will say no bed. But none of these explanations will justify why someone will at least not be triaged in an emergency. Triaging from the incident that happened in 2018 to the 70-year-old man, I was privy to a lot of the information. I was then Assistant General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. The GMA played a critical role. We issued a 2-page statement on this. And one of the conclusions was that no one should be turned away from a hospital without being triaged. When we triage you, it means that as you have arrived at that emergency, we've done some basic assessment and then categorize you into a color code that you are red, which means you need urgent and immediate attention. You are orange, which means a different thing. You are yellow, which means a different thing. You are green, which means you are stable. You can even go home.
Right now,
that kind of
you have detailed the very broad instances in which no bed is said, which, although as you rightly put it, none really is entirely justifiable for the loss of life. But I'm going to ask that you hold briefly, but do stay on Zoom, Titus Beryo, board chairman for Kolebu Teaching Hospital, because we're being joined via Zoom by a family member of the deceased. That's Raj Amisa joining us now. Good evening. And first of all, we'd like you to accept our heartfelt condolences to you and to the entire family during what we can imagine is a very difficult time. And I'd like to ask that if you're able to, if you can share with us when you first realized that your brother was being denied care. Please unmute yourself. Lady Raj, can you kindly unmute?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Very well. Hearing you now. Please go ahead.
Yes. So, greetings to you and to your viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you again for having me. Okay. So on Friday the 6th, our brother Charles went to work. As usual, from home, he goes on his motorcycle. And usually after work, he would come straight home. But on that day, he didn't return home, which was very unlike him. After work, we found out eventually that he visited his friend's new place, to help him resolve some electrical issues. And then later that evening, he left to the house at Adenta. Our mom called him while he was on his way. That was that Friday evening, and then he did assure her that he was returning home. But after a while, we waited to hear from him, and then all attempts to reach him were unsuccessful. I don't know if I'm answering your question or I'm veering off.
You aren't veering off. You have expressed the point at which you were unable to contact him, which of course made you realize that something had occurred, most probably. But when did you realize that he was being denied care? If you could paint a picture of what that moment looked like.
All right. So actually, the family, we had no idea where he was. We had tried to reach him after the information was circulated on social media. Awareness was created.
Right.
And then we received a call on the third day. So every information, most of the information we have is actually from the ambulance team that attended to him when the accident happened. We were not first-hand witnesses of the accident. So according to the team, they received a call to attend to an emergency at the Circle overpass. So the ambulance team, apparently there's the ambulances at Circle. So it took them a very short while to get there. And then so they moved quickly to the scene. And then the crew, they said that they responded to the patient. You know, that's their. So they mobilized him. They moved him to police hospital.
Okay.
And then, according to their report, on arrival, the patient was rejected with the reason of unavailability of beds.
Of beds, right.
Yeah.
Very well. Now,
and then, okay, I'm with you.
Right. Now, Lady Raj, you have expressed when and how you realized it occurred. You did not, the family were not immediately privy to it initially. Just very briefly, I mean, 2 doctors and other medical staff have been interdicted. And do you think that this is a good start? Is it a positive start for you? Briefly.
A start, yes, we could say it's a start. But I think that we need a total overhaul. I don't know if it's of the mindset or because I did hear your first the medical doctor. I
yes,
did hear
my
him
conversation with the board chair of Kolebu.
Yes, the board chair. Yes, I did hear him, and everything he said, you know, rightly so. I think that we should place more value on human lives in this country. When our brother was taken in, we were told that he was bleeding. He was bleeding profusely. So, I mean, we were thinking that the best thing that could have been done was at least assess him and then stabilize him, you know, before transferring him.
Okay.
But he lost so much blood. So at least assess him and then stabilize him. If even there are no beds, assess the patient and then stabilize him. Then we could move from there.
Right. And now, Lady Raj Amisa, I'm going to wrap it up here with you, but thank you so much for your time. And once again, we extend our heartfelt condolences to you and the entire family. That is a family member of the deceased. Now, returning to you, that's a board chair of Kolebu. You just heard her input, really, with regards to this, sharing the fact that more value must be placed on human life. And you were explaining the reasons behind no bed, but still, I mean, a patient in cardiac arrest reportedly not admitted immediately for life-saving intervention. Is this where we've gotten to, and why are we here, and what do we do about it?
So, as I stated, there's no justification whatsoever for this. It's a very, very, very unfortunate development, and our hearts go out to the family. And like I said, if we do not fix this, then all of us are at risk. The good news, however, is that I can confirm that our Minister for Health has been working around the clock to fix this. I have privileged information of knowing that he set up a committee to try and find a comprehensive solution to this. And I think that is what gives me hope. And I just hope that for once, we will be able to fix it. And as I mentioned, the effort of the minister and the government can fix the systemic issues. They can fix the structural issues. But what is needed to also be fixed is that of the attitude of everybody involved in healthcare. In terms of the structural issues, our ambulance system, the cadre of staff in the ambulance also needs to be looked at. Currently, ambulances swoop and run, which means, as she mentioned, the gentleman simply exsanguinated. He just bled to death. Could somebody have put in a line and run IV fluid? If you look at the protocol of how the ambulances run, they are not trained to do basic things like running infusions on patients they pick up from the roadside. Okay. They don't give blood in the ambulance. If you were given one from a hospital, they can transport you with it. If you are on oxygen, they can do that. They've been trained on how to do CPR. But those interventions that are required, many procedures in the ambulance, our current paramedic training at the basic level doesn't do that. So that's one change that is needed.
Okay.
But the comprehensive solution is an integrated bed management system and referral system. In this day of IT and information technology and AI, that is the solution that the Minister of Health has put together a group to work out and bring. I know that what they are trying to do is to have every bed in our teaching hospitals, the major teaching hospitals, known, numbered, barcoded, and we know where all these beds are.
Right.
real time, the manager should be able to tell bed availability status. Now, ambulances call people on phone and tell them, we are bringing you this patient. Minister wants to introduce something that at the point of pickup of the patient information is transmitted automatically to the receiving hospital. On a simple app, you can tell the hospitals close to you that can receive that patient. Well. So hopefully, we should find a solution to this.
We have an integrated approach to solving this. We would like to thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing that, and we'll certainly stay on this and report more on it here on GHOne TV and subsequent bulletins. Titus Bayo, board chairman of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, joining us on that rather unfortunate development. That wraps up Insights for tonight.
Ow! Let me see.
You're welcome back to News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Business News is next.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Business tonight, Stanbic Bank Ghana has raised alarm over a major default on a $15 million credit facility granted to finance the purchase of new vehicles for members of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, for commercial operations. Speaking on the sidelines of the maiden graphic business Stanbic breakfast meeting, the bank's executive head of marketing, Mawuko Fajinu, revealed that the widespread repayments and challenges have caused the collapse of a revolving fund established to support commercial transport financing. Calvin Powell has more in this report.
The maiden 2026 edition of the graphic business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting was held under the theme, "The Commit Job, Why Resetting the Urban Transport System is an Economic Necessity." The forum created a strategic platform for industry leaders, policymakers, financiers and transport operators to deliberate on the growing transportation challenges in major cities, particularly Accra, and to propose practical solutions amid concerns that inefficiencies in the urban transport system are undermining national productivity. The executive head of marketing at Stanbic Bank Ghana, Mawuko Fajinu, lamented what he described as a general lack of commitment by some borrowers in meeting their credit obligations.
So the GPRTU relationship, the Stanbic 50 million revolving fund that was established, the contract was actually signed in 2007, and the first tranche of vehicles, 200 brand new vehicles, was given out in 2008. By 2010, 2011, the scheme literally had collapsed and come to a halt. Why? Because there was huge defaults. Many people who took the buses did things that were not right.
Touching on dealing with the grueling traffic congestion in urban areas, Director of Policy Planning at the Ministry of Transport.
In other business news this evening, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says it is investigating suspected corruption involving the diversion of 50 20-foot containers of palm oil valued at 25.8 million cedis. The consignment declared as in transit to Burkina Faso was unlawfully diverted into the local market without payment of applicable duties and taxes. The OSP says it has identified the involvement of some customs officers, national security operatives and clearing agents in a corrupt scheme that resulted in an estimated tax loss of 10.5 million cedis. More on that subsequently. In some more business news this evening, Third Well Inclusive Business Center says it will purposefully raise incomes and living standards of underprivileged groups as it embarks on an effort to support businesses who are not financially stable. The private non-profit center assisting these businesses will collaborate closely with private sector entities to advance sustainable economic growth. Speaking at the launch, the founder, Mr. Osa Thompson Mensah, stressed that inclusive businesses are not motivated by charitable causes.
Businesses are businesses that deliberately engage what we call bottom of pyramid or low income goods. In Ghana, we call them low income goods. Okay, and they engage them in a way, or they trade with them in a way that improves their income or makes their lives better, i.e., improve their livelihood. That is what an inclusive business is. So an inclusive business is not an NGO. It is a business that sells and makes money.
That's all the business news we've got for you this evening. Do stay with us on News Tonight. More news shortly.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
And you welcome to Sports. Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama has called on corporate Ghana to invest in the Ghana Sports Fund to aid in the success of the initiative. He made this call in his address delivered at a meeting with members of the private sector where he touched on varied economic-related activities.
In 2026, Ghana stands at the center of several global platforms. Our national football team, Black Stars, is preparing for its 5th FIFA World Cup appearance. Our women's soccer team, Black Queens, heads into continental competition with renewed credibility. We also prepare for the 2026 Commonwealth Games and the 2026 Summer Youth Olympics. These moments position Ghana before global audiences and investors in ways that few sectors can do. We've therefore established the Ghana Sports Fund, a transparent financing framework for grassroots development, school sports, athlete welfare, infrastructure modernization, and long-term talent pathways. No country achieves sporting excellence without deliberate funding systems. I invite corporate Ghana to view this not as charity, but as a partnership in national development. Government has created a framework. Let us build the systems.
And that's Ghana's president. Some boxing news now. In boxing, greats Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather have announced their return to the boxing ring with a rematch fixed for September. Pacquiao, who is now 47 years, and Mayweather, who is 48 years, will fight in Las Vegas on Saturday, now September 19. Now with the bouts live on Netflix, Filipino Pacquiao retired from the sport on for focus on his political career. Now Mayweather and Pacquiao first met in 2015 in what was billed as the fight of the century and remains the richest boxing bout. Let's take a listen now to Manny Pacquiao himself on how excited he is for this boxing bout.
In boxing, and he come out from retirement.
Pacquiao speaking on his upcoming bout in September with Floyd Mayweather. Of course, both are now retired, but they're coming back to boxing for that wonderful bout we are expecting from the two of them. That should be it for us in sports.
On the foreign fronts tonight, a senior commander of the M23 rebel group has been killed in a drone strike in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Military spokesperson for the rebel movement, Lieutenant Colonel Willie Ngoma, was reportedly killed early Tuesday near Rubaya in North Kivu province. Multiple sources say the attack occurred at about 3 a.m., dealing a significant blow to the M23 rebels amid ongoing ceasefire efforts. Ngoma had been under European Union sanctions since 2022 and was designated by the United States in 2023 over alleged involvement in human rights violations, including killings and sexual violence. We've got lots more international and local stories available on our website, starfm.com.gh. That's how we wrap up news tonight. This evening, many thanks to you for watching. It was produced by Abdul Hanan Adam and Stella Butchway. I'm Natalie Fort. Have a restful evening.